We would be having a conversation with Gabriela Abdul, the general manager at Cathedral Credit Union, and she's going to give us an insight in terms of how the boot camp went, or if it's still ongoing. I'm not sure, but I understand that she's live with us already. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
How are you doing?
Very good, thank God.
All right, so the boot camp is completed, or is it still
Yes.
ongoing?
No. It was held on the 21st of August, and this was at the Bonaccord, the Canaan Bonaccord Community Center.
All right then, yes indeed. Of course, hello secondary, goodbye primary. What was the vibe? How it turned out?
Right. So we had 70 parents register their children, and we had a turnout, physical turnout of 41 students. And it was amazing. And the kids were quite pleased at the end of that boot camp.
And now, so this is not the first time that this event was held, but it's the first time in Tobago, if I'm not mistaken, all right?
Yes, it's the first time in Tobago. What we had before SEA, it was preparing the children for exams and helping them cope. And of course, you know that Dr. Williams James, Williams James, is our host for those programs.
Okay, and if persons are hearing this for the first time, just give us an overview as to what exactly transpired. It was a boot camp, yes, but that's a little more details in terms of how the program was structured and the
Right.
importance.
So the program was to enable children to understand the new school system, the secondary school system, because remember they're transitioning from primary to secondary. Um, Friendships and fitting in, confidence, coping, organizational skills, academic hacks, staying safe and standing strong.
And in terms of Cathedral Credit Union's involvement, I understand that you would partner from time to time as part of your mission and your objectives. But this particular collaboration included whom?
Well, initially it was just Dr. Roya James, but of course we have to reach out to the schools, and at the moment we are organizing to formalize our relationship with TAT. This is the Division of Education, and and also the Ministry of Education. So we are looking to make some inroads so that we can support the children in the various developmental stages. And of course, these programs are free of charge to the children. So what we are doing is collaborating and partnering with corporate citizens, right, organizations to help offset the cost. And this will help the children develop well, manage stress, just everyday stress, and even cope in the environment in which they are placed in.
And would you say that the objectives were achieved? You mentioned 70 or so students, but in terms of the objectives that you would have set out at first, were they achieved?
Of course, so 41 students attended, and we could talk about what they learned. Some of the key points under understanding the secondary school system. They discussed the differences between primary and secondary school, the school rules, dress code, attendance policies, and consequences for being late, importance of following the timetable and managing multiple classrooms, building relationships with teachers and understanding their expectations. When it came to friendships and fitting in, the children were taught how to build healthy relationships and setting boundaries, meeting people with respect and kindness, recognizing and avoiding negative peer pressure, communicating clearly and resolving conflicts peacefully, maintaining healthy boundaries in friendships. They also discuss staying safe and standing strong, being aware of their surroundings and avoiding unsafe situations, online safety, protection of passwords, how to avoid oversharing and report cyberbullying, saying no to drugs, violence, risky behavior, how to stand up for themselves, and gain the support of others.
Some may
Right? So they
argue,
learn a few things.
and fantastic, and of course, congratulations for taking the lead in terms of trying to help and offer that assistance for the young ones transitioning into big school, as you would
Yes.
say, big school. And some may argue that rules are meant to be broken. And I like the fact that you dismissed that argument and implemented or added the school rules into the
Yes.
program. And also online bullying and
Yes.
oversharing. I just want to just speak a little bit about that because you may have a cellular device or you may have access to a device,
Yes.
and in attempts to quote unquote appear cool, you may share certain things that will affect you in the long run. How did
Yes.
the students or the young ones react or receive the advice in terms of navigating the online space when transitioning into secondary school?
Well, Dr. James has a very comical way, very down to earth way of explaining to the children. And she used an analogy of oversharing. When you put all your business outside, what you're going to eat, what you're doing, just taking photos of everything, the environment, everything you're going to do next. She was telling them that it was very unsafe to do that. And it was called oversharing, unnecessary information. And people can actually start stalking you through these things. They will know exactly where you are, what you're doing. They'll be able to time you and stalk you.
Yes.
So she did talk about things like that. She also talked about um, good examples and bad examples and the things that you should follow. Knowing what you want is critical in development, right? And the children were taught in a very simple way. They understood, they received the information well. I mean, one of the key things Dr. James did was explain to the children, that during school, they have school days. You'll have day one, day two, up to day six. But we have 5 days a week. So she was explaining the dynamics between the different days when you are not operating on a 5-day school schedule. So all of that were explained to the children so that they would understand how to navigate their new environment. She also discussed what were the differences between primary school environment and secondary school environment, which is something they will not know unless somebody explains to them. They were also taught who to reach out to and how to do it, right? And the value of obeying rules and being prepared. I think those were the key elements of the program, how to organize themselves, set their timetables. I mean, it was such a beautiful program and it was well received by the children. It is our intention at the credit union to host this program if schools want us to personally host it for them. But right now, we are not focusing on this per se.
Okay.
We have another very important program coming up.
All right, and you mentioned, I like how you mentioned exactly how the approaches were impactful and the different styles that the coordinator would have employed to ensure that the message got across or the messages were well received. In terms of the sharing and the oversharing, that's a serious thing. You saw one
Very
video on
serious.
TikTok and online, and you're basically sharing your life, and that may impact you in the future or in the secondary school system that these students are going into. But talking about sharing, of course, Cathedral Credit Union being influential and putting on this particular event, and I know the credit union would have shares and dividends and so on. But in terms of what is next, can you share with us
Yes.
what is on the table for Cathedral Credit Union?
Sure. Well, we're about to host our anti-bullying campaign, and this is to schools and, of course, the general public. And this program is going to be multi-pronged, of course, the approach. So we will do either, I'm sorry, let me just get this. So we would do either physical, um, virtual, and of course, we're going to reach out to communities.
And how can persons get in contact with the Cathedral Credit Union if they want to be involved? And also, the individual schools may also want to partner with you to have these private, or should I say exclusive, partnership with Cathedral Credit Union.
Well, we are reaching out to the Ministry of Education and THE.
Okay.
So we will have to do it that formal way because, of course, we must get permission to enter schools. So we will do it like that. Anything we host virtually on our website, anyone can join. But once we have to approach schools, we must go through the formal channels. So the schools will have to wait and they will get their permissions from Ministry of Education and the Division of Education in Tobago.
All right then. Of course, Gabriela Abdul, the General Manager at Cathedral Credit Union, sharing the good news in terms of how the boot camp went. Of course, goodbye primary. And hello,
Yes.
hello secondary, goodbye primary.
Hello, Secondary, goodbye, primary.
All right. And in terms of when next this event will happen in Tobago in particular, is another year, or it may happen within a 6-month period, you can't say.
As I said before, if we get a call to host this program anytime soon, we'll do it because we are ready. Now, of course, this is based on the availability of Dr. James,
Okay.
right? But we are ready. The material is there, and of course, our host is available. So any school that wants us to come in, once we get the permission, we'll definitely do it because it is essential. It's very important to help the children cope. Remember, they're coming into a new environment and it can be very stressful.
All right then, Gabriela Abdul, General Manager at Cathedral Credit Union, sharing all the good news and continue to reach out to us in terms of providing that details. You all are one of the longest established credit union in Trinidad and Tobago, right?
Yes, since 1944.
Since 1944. And of course, the office in Tobago, let's remind us.
Yes, at Panam, Milford Road, Panam Building. And in Trinidad, it's 113 Edward Street in Port of Spain. We can be reached at 235-6947 or on our website, cathedralcutt.com.
All right then. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. And ladies and
My
gentlemen,
pleasure.
thank you